Um, in this, here I want to demonstrate static members of a class. You can make the data static, right? The data member. You can make, function static. It's not really as common to make functions static. There's not a lot of uses for it, so I'm just going to talk about making the data members static. And what happens is you put the reserved word static in front of a data member. I put it in front of this one, but you could put it in front of more than one if you wanted to, or if you have 3 data members, you can make one static and 2 not static, or 2 static and 1 not static, or any combination. And what it means is that every instance of a class is only going to have one copy of this member variable. So, for instance, if I take this out and I look at my driver program, you'll see here length 1 has a data member stored inside it, length inches. Length 2 has a data member stored inside of it, and length 3 has a data member, length inches, stored inside of it. So if we come here and we do this, then there's only one data member, length inches, and no matter how many objects or variables of that type you create, they would all share this. So it's really not so nice to implement this, and I think as far as member variables, data member variables, it's not, it can really have some side effects that can be harmful, but I'll show you maybe an example of a constant where it would be good, but I just want to show you how these work. So if I put static in front of that, I have to then go into my driver program, and I would actually have to declare, I have to put the name of the class, I have to actually declare this variable again. Here's length inches from the length class. This is the scope resolution operator. It just tells you what class it's from, and it's an integer. But I want you to see what happens when I run this. And that's why it's a little awkward. All of them, the first 3 come out 3 feet 6 inches, and the last one comes out 2 feet 8 inches. And the reason is they're all updating the same data member. So when you set length of inches to 0 for that, then you set the length inches to 14 for this one, and then you set it to 3 feet 6 inches here. It's just going to use this last one because it keeps updating the length of inches, which would be, 3 times 12, which is 36, which is 42. Now it's 42 when it executes all 3 of these statements. So there's not a great use of these types of variables, but sometimes the place where you'll actually see them more is if you had a constant for some reason. Let's say I declared a constant. Then sometimes it's a good idea to make that static because constants, you don't need to make a copy for every instance. We want inches per feet to be 12 no matter if we're looking at length 1, length 2, length 3, length 4. And keep in mind, right, then I could replace this with inch per feet. I could replace this with inch per feet. And, then if I come over here, I don't need to worry about declaring it again. That's not required when you create a static constant. So if you think about it, you've got 3 variables, but they're all just sharing that one constant. That makes a lot of sense. You don't need to have an inch per feet constant created every time you have a new length variable. Alright, and you can see that runs, and we go back to what we had originally expected. So that's what the reserved word static does.